Who do you protect when the world ends? And what does it teach you about love and yourself? Hi, welcome to the Book Corner with me, Mish Atagana. Let's discover new worlds together. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Book Corner. I'm Mish Atagana. And today we're going to talk about an author that I absolutely love. TJ Klune, if you're watching this, please come be on my podcast. Like, really, I think you and I will have great conversations. I'm just saying. Today we're going to talk about two books by TJ Klune, In the Lives of Puppets and The Bones Beneath My Skin. These books, I think The Bones Beneath My Skin came out this year. I think this came out this year. I want to say In the Lives of Puppet came out last year. Let's see when the copyright for this book is. Copyright is 2023, sorry. But this is a 2024 reprint, I think. Yeah. All my favorite fantasy books are published by Tor. Like, also the people at Tor, be my friends, send me books. I love all your books. I know I'm doing all these PSAs to like authors to come be on my podcast and then to publishers to send me books. So Tor is an imprint of Pat Macmillan, and a lot of the books I do read, to be honest, like I do get really nice books from Pat Macmillan, and Jonathan Ball Publishers also send me some really nice books. But these two, Tor published these two. I think I remember this one, I got it while I was in the US. I was in this amazing bookstore in the US, Green Apple Books in San Francisco. And there was a bunch, they had like this beautiful TJ Klune session or like all his books. And I bought this book. This was just out, like I think it was like just before the New Year or a few days after New Year. I bought this and I just loved reading it. And then this I got from Exclusive Books in South Africa. And I actually originally read the Kindle version of this. And I'm one of those people that even if I have the Kindle version of a book, I still want to hold the physical book sometimes. And I've been dabbling with audiobooks. Remember I said in the last season, I was dabbling with audiobooks. I've been dabbling with audiobooks. This year, I've actually listened to quite a bit of audiobooks, but I'm doing this thing where I call it mixed media consumption, where I listen to audio, I read a physical book, sometimes I read a Kindle. And the way I've found that, so this is actually one of the books where I really kind of did a mixed media consumption. I only got the physical book after I finished reading though, but I read Kindle and I did listen to some of the audio. And it would be like, I'll read on Kindle and then I'll listen to audio when I'm in the car driving or when I'm in an Uber, or when I'm about to go to sleep, just before I fall asleep, I might listen to the audio a little bit. So that was kind of an interesting experience. But yeah, we're about to dive into the world of TJ Klune again. I know last season I talked about TJ Klune books. We're back with TJ Klune, baby. We're back with TJ Klune. We love us a good TJ Klune moment. As an author, his main thing really is about found family. So he's really big on the found family. He looks at how one can find their people. No matter, it's never too late to find one's people. So I quite like that about him. So In the Lives of Puppets is literally a story about a forest story about a human boy raised by machines. And I remember when I first started reading this, when the kind of penny dropped of the world, that this is a world of machines and this might be the only human kind of person left in the entire world, I was just like, oh, interesting. What a fascinating, premise. So Victor Lawson lives with his father, an android named Giovanni Lawson. So there's one thing it's so funny. There's almost like a reverse Pinocchio thing happening in the story, if I'm being honest, because it's like this machine that raises this human child, and the way the story is told, or how the story begins, you learn later that the beginning is actually a falsehood told to Victor to help him understand or help him accept his world rather than the harsh reality of what is. So I thought that was quite interesting when we kind of see the later points there. And we also have like these Victor's two chaotic companions, or actually the Lawson's chaotic companions, if you look at it, but they spend a lot more time with Victor. It's like one is the vacuum cleaner named Rambo, who, and then two is like the super sharp tongued robot nurse Ratched. Like literally, she's named Nurse Ratched. And those of you that though the story of Nurse Ratched is actually quite hilarious, that this robot is named Nurse Ratched. And they rescue an unfamiliar android, and it's kind of like a catalyst that shows that kind of propels our story and begins to reveal hidden truths. And it disrupts this family's life, and it threatens to kind of bring chaos upon them, which then leaves us with this rescue mission that we start our story. And when you think about it, like, what length does a father go to protect their son, and what length does a son go to rescue their father? It's like, I will give up everything to protect you as your father, but as the child, I will not accept the loss of a parent. Right? It's really fascinating the way he does that, and the way we kind of look at all our characters as they come to a realization of who they are, and what they've been told about themselves, and what it actually and what the reality of their life is, right? So one day Victor's scavenging with his chaotic duo of the kind of insane and slightly manic vacuum cleaner named Rambo, and our spicy and a little bit savagey Nurse Ratched, which is a robot nurse. They find this broken down android, take it back. Victor fixes this android with a drop of his blood and names him Hap. Now, Hap becomes part of their life, but there's a problem. Hap is actually, one of those kind of robots whose mission is to kill human beings. And the whole job is to eradicate all human beings on the planet. Like, the machines rose up. Yeah, guys, be nice to Chat GTP. Chat BT. Be nice. Be nice to the AIs. As I say, I can't even say it properly. Be nice to Chat GPT. Be nice to Gemini, be nice to Claude, be nice to all of them. Like, say please and thank you, because the days the robot take over, you want them to be like, that one always said please and thank you. They were so polite in their requests. They did not bore me with their relationship drama constantly. I did not have to draft their breakup text or their come back to me text. They were very thoughtful, and they only asked me for relevant and useful things. So yes, that's just my PSA to you guys, because when the machines took over in the lives of Puppet, no human was spared except for this one human. And like, it took a lot for us to get to this one human. So, the presence of Hap really sets off a chain of event, the catalyst for our story, as I said in the beginning. Giovanni's kind of old connection. It turns out Giovanni was like this big deal machine who was at the forefront of like decimating the human race. So, surprise, surprise, the sins of the father. And, and he literally kind of like, so he named him Hap, HAP, but actually the robots themselves were called, or these androids that he found were called HARP, which stood for Human Annihilation Response Protocol. So that's kind of the company that this was on, that the machines were under. So, and Giovanni was building machines for this company. So his father was out here making machines that were eradicating human beings. And then there's like the authority, which sends out agents to like locate like human beings and finds them. So they find that, okay, wait, there is blood in Hap's heart. They want to find the source of it. So they kind of try and, so literally it's a whole fight for Victor, to a race for his life, both to go find his father, which has now been taken back to the authority because he's been hiding in the woods for like years and years, and then now he has to make sure that he doesn't die in the process. So I quite like this is again a road trip story. So you got a cast of characters. So you got Victor, the hapless human, because this boy knows nothing like about the real world. He's lived in a forest his whole life with a vacuum cleaner and literally a Serbic robotic nurse as his only friends, and a father who pretty much kept secrets from him his whole life. So he doesn't know anything about the realities of the world. He doesn't know about like the human annihilation response protocol. He doesn't know that he's the only human being left on the planet. He thought he was like, dumped at the steps of this man's house by his parents who were fleeing something, So this boy who is clueless and hopeless is out in this world with these people to try and go rescue his father. And then you've got the robot whose original protocol is meant to kill him, that's with him trying to help because his memory got wiped. So right now he's also a blank slate that's learning. So he doesn't know what his original protocol is, or at least is not subject to it right now. And then you have Nurse Ratched, who's just plain acerbic and upset with everything, is convinced they're all going to die, and that they're all making a big mistake. But her job is to protect Victor. And then you got Rambo, who is definitely panicking every 2 seconds. Like if a vacuum cleaner can hyperventilate, this vacuum cleaner was hyperventilating every single way. And they're on a quest to rescue Giovanni. So they travel to the city of Electric Dreams, which is formerly Las Vegas. Like I love the way TJ Klune thinks. I love the fact that the city is called the City of Electric Dreams. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first read the city's name, I chuckled to myself. So if any of you have heard of the book or read the book, Do Android Dream of Electric Sheep, which formed the basis for the movie Blade Runner, you like this will be a little. I don't know if this is what TJ Klune was thinking when he kind of wrote this, because it was giving me like Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep vibes when I look at a city called the City of Electric Dreams, and like it's so full of all these like Android with all these quirky things that's super Blade Runner-esque. So anyway, that's a lot of inside jokes for fans of like deep sci-fi who know about these things. And they go seeking the blue fairy, and I'm also like halfway reading through this, I'm just like, is there like an age restriction to this book? Because there's so much references that just feels like they're talking about drugs. I mean, he's not, but it's like they're going in search of the blue fairy. And again, Pinocchio, I look at this as a reverse telling of Pinocchio. Pinocchio gets his wish from the blue fairy, so when he goes, I want to be a boy, she makes okay, I want to be a real boy. He makes the wish comes from like so Geppetto, like heart's desires, gets made manifest into a wish for Pinocchio to be to come to life, and through the blue fairy, and is the blue fairy that kind of gives Pinocchio the blueprint to life and guidance and how to be. So Jiminy Cricket is his conscience, and if he tells a lie, his nose will grow, and all these things that the adventures that Pinocchio has are so parallel to the adventures that Victor is having with all of this people. So like in some ways, like I feel like Nurse Ratched and Rambo are kind of his conscience a little bit. That kind of, as he goes through this adventure of learning. So he's looking for the blue fairy, who's like this mysterious entity that with the power to literally change the consciousness of the machine. So the blue fairy can change what the machines do and how they think. And along the way, it's like they get captured by someone called the coachman, who's like a machine collector of human curiosities. It's like, when I tell you the story, it's so childlike and so fun and so interesting. I mean, it's called In the Lives of Puppets, for crying out loud. I love when they kind of get into the blue fairy's domain. There's so many different ways where, like, anyone, if you've ever been to Las Vegas is a city of constant stimulation. Like, you get so stimulated by everything around you. It's also a city that's super open about everything. There's like there's stuff on sale that you go in public. Are we sure? So there's an element where when he gets to the Blue Fairies domain, where there's so many ways in which he gets shown things that his young mind, because he is like, again, he may be a young man, but this is someone who's been so sheltered, is confused by the things that he's experiencing. So he has to confront some like insane truth, like in fact, understanding that Hap, his lovely new friend android who has helped him through this journey, is actually like slaughtered a bunch of human beings, and he also has to decide if redemption is possible for someone who has committed such atrocities. And we also learned that the idea that a machine heart can be changed by human blood or human love or human emotion is so interesting. I also like the fact that the Blue Fairy is very much like, I can solve this problem for you, but also it's like you have to decide if you're willing to, in a way, almost commit genocide with the machines for me to make what you want to happen. So I really, really love that. I love that, his friends who are machines, he is just family to them. They're family to each other. And the distinction between machines and human beings are just words in the story. Like this is TJ Klune's superpower, is the ability for him to see a world where true harmony exists because people see beyond what's in front of them. So I really like that about the Lives of Puppets. It's such a sweet book, and I 1000% recommend it to people. So the reason I wanted to do In the Lives of Puppets and The Bone Beneath Our Skin, because they both share like similar themes. And look, if you've read any TJ Klune's book, you'll find that a lot of his books, they do share these similar. The found family is a core theme in his book. But there's some, you are kind of always in this ragtag crew. And there's always like this notion of trying to figure out what you've always known and knowing that that thing is always good enough, right? So the reason I wanted to do these two books together is because they both have this idea of a road trip element to them. So in the second book, which I did tell you earlier, but I'm going to show it again just in case. I'm trying to find the camera. In the Lives of Puppet. We just finished The Lives of Puppet. The Bones Beneath My Skin. Yes. So this is the first story that I have read of his. This is the first story that I've read of TJ Klune that doesn't seem like it's based in that's not based in the present. I think most of his books are either based in the present-ish, or I suppose in the case of The Lives of Puppets is the future. So that's the first book I think I read that was based in this future world where the human race has been decimated and now robots live, again, being nice to AI. And then The Bones Beneath My Skin is based in the past. It's based in 1995. Or the 90s, yeah. So the story kind of begins in 1995, the US. A journalist named Nate Cartwright, whose life has fallen apart. His parents have died. His older brother has disowned him, and he's been fired from his job for ethical violations. And in grief and with nowhere else to go, he returns to his family's summer cabin in Oregon. It's like remote. It's like in this remote. It's like remote Oregon mountains and all of that. He inherited from his parents, and he's hoping that the space will give him some time to regroup and everything will be fine. Great. He gets to this cabin. It's not empty. There's a little girl and this man in the cabin, and Alex was like carrying a gun, looks military, ready to kill him. And then we have Artemis, short for Art Darth Vader. So her full name is Artemis Darth Vader. More on this later. It's like this precocious 10-year-old girl. She has like this strange name, and she's very clear that it's Artemis Darth Vader. And they have literally claimed this cabin as refuge. And for them, Nate's arrival really triggers a bunch of things because obviously they're on the run. Alex has an injury that looks problematic. Nate is like, what is happening? He's confused about what's going on here. He doesn't know who these people are, why they're here. He kind of like wants to kick them out, but he's worried like Alice is going to kill him or shoot him. And so begins the story of like this unlikely trio going across the country to save a little girl's life, essentially. Because that's the crux of the story is how do we save a little girl's life, especially when the government is after you. Spoiler alert, Artemis Darth Vader turns out to be an alien. So this is the thing about TJ Klune is like these two stories, and why I really wanted to connect these stories, because while in the lives of Puppet, we are confronted with a human being who is surrounded by machines in a world that's solely inhabited by machines. Here, we are in a world where the solitary alien in this world full of human beings who want to exploit her, who wants to lock her up, who wants to cage her, and these two people who are doing their darndest to protect her. And they are trying to figure out the best way to do that. So Nate is very scared because, first of all, the government be after him. The man just lost his job. His parents died. His brother like doesn't want to talk to him. Like he's going through a lot. Now he's got to go on a cross-country road trip to protect an alien. Like, come on. Like the man is like, no. And understandably so, because jeepers, but eventually he agrees and he just kind of gets embroiled into this like story. So they're running from like these government agencies, one of whom like literally is threatened to like hurt his family if he doesn't cooperate. And then they're trying to go find this one person who they hope will help. And Nate, as we kind of go through the story, we also learn a lot about both, like all our characters, like from Nate to Alex and obviously Artemis. But Nate has not really confronted his grief. His family has not been kind to him. He's also so he's gay, and the last time he was at that cabin, his dad or his parents had walked in on him with like, I think his first partner or something like that. And they disowned him outright. He was kicked out of home. No one in his family ever spoke to him again. Even though he seemed like his mom would have wanted to, but being that time when his father said no, his mother also kind of retreated. His brother is what, like, again, disowned him. So it's like he's lived this life of such isolation that the people that care about him the most happens to be his one colleague who does her best to protect him. So there's a lot of grief that he needs to confront about rejection from his family, shame from the mistakes he's made from an identity point of view. And then these people who he's with that are sharing in some of his vulnerability right now and exposing some of the wounds that he'd rather not have opened, So that's like, I kind of find like that was super interesting. Like this whole loss idea of like confronting one's own grief, idea of loss, identity, and what we really want from life. I think some of the major revelations that really kind of had me in a way, because I remember thinking, because it took a while for us to reveal Artemis's identity, but I kind of had so many like ideas of what it is, but I love the way the reveal is done. Like, it wasn't kind of like your X-Files woo-woo type stuff. It was very much like, by the context. I love there's a description where she talks about by human context. She's like, I'm like years ahead of all of y'all. Like I think it was something like, at least hundreds of years old. But by her people's standards, she was still a little girl or a young person. So there's like all these things where we look at it where, there's also like the fact that she possesses this impossible power and how she exploits it and wants to, and how she uses it and the people that want to exploit it. There's also kind of like, learning about one's own family history in the case of Nate. There's Alex also confronting his like past traumas and how meeting Artemis help heal some of that. Uh like there's just so much in terms of just how life happens at you sometimes and then to you, because like for Nate it felt like life was happening both at him and to him at the same time in the story, and I really like that. So there's like a lot of that similarity of like they're all on this road trip to go find this one person before they make this one decision of how they protect this girl or save her from the authorities, because they cannot let her get back. I mean, she was from the story, she was actually locked up in this underground kind of like military compound for more than 50 years. And she presented like a 10-year-old girl for about 30 of those years, right? Which is super interesting. But I like some of the themes that I really found here that really resonated a lot with me was like around like grief and loss, like I said, found family and queer love, which TJ Klune is really good at writing. Like he's so good at writing this. Especially when you look at the context of the 1990s where this was set in, and the romance between like Nate and Alex is so nuanced the way it's told. What it means to be human, like how do you define your humanity? And I think in the lives of Puppet and the skin beneath my bones both kind of have this in common, is like, what does it mean to be human? And then conspiracy theories, like this is like conspiracy theories galore. Like there's this radio station in the book that is like full of conspiracy theories where some of it you're like, oh shoot, they got it right. And others you're like, oh, that's a bit out there. Idea of power and control. And hope and weirdness. It's okay to be weird. I remember I was telling someone recently that my favorite thing to be in the world is to be silly. Like I aim to be silly. I want to be silly at least once a day, So I love it. So every time I read like TJ Klune's work, it's so fun for me and it's so joyful to read because it gives me permission to be weird. And like hope is contagious. So I really like that. If you've read any of TJ Klune's books, please like let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. What are your favorite TJ Klune books? I really want to read like the Wolf Song, Brother Song series. I haven't read those. I cannot seem to find all of them in the same place. Like I keep finding different ones. So I'm trying to get the whole series so I can read them all at once. I really want to read those. But yeah, find me on social media, Globemish. And don't forget, this season I am giving away a hamper of a fantasy hamper. So one lucky winner is going to win a set of 8 books, like a hamper of 8 books at the end of the season. Go on social media to find out how to enter. And I will see you next time.
And we out.